Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, December the 16th, 2023. And behind me is the Caroline Dormon Backbone Trailhead parking lot. Today, we're going to be hiking the first half of section 2 of the Heber Kisatchie Trail, which is the road walk. We're going to be doing about 20 miles today. And we're going to go ahead and you can see behind me where we're going. We're going in this direction and back this way in that direction took you to the Backbone Trail. So I'm going to point out a few things here on our way out of here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going southbound. I believe this is Forest Road 336, and you can see, of course, here's the Caroline Dormon Backbone Trail parking lot. I don't know specifically. I saw a while back I came out here, but somewheres in this vicinity, you can probably camp out. I've seen some tents in the past, and this is an important spot to keep an eye out for, because whether you are traveling this trail in the same direction that I'm traveling it, where you're finishing up the Kisatchie Loop, or if you're going northbound and finishing the trail in the Kisatchie Loop, you want to find something in here, because back over in this direction, this way and to the left, is the Caroline Dormon Trail. So it does match up pretty well in the mileage. But either way, I just wanted to point that out to you before we start walking on the forest road. All right, well, it's a little wet out here. Hopefully it dries up a little bit. They had some rain this morning, but as we now start this road walk section, I'm really excited about doing this today for a couple of reasons. First of all, when Eric was working on designing this trail, he had mapped everything out. He had walked the entire trail except for the road walk section. He never had an opportunity to actually walk this. So it definitely has some sentimental value for me to come out here today and be able to walk and record this, since he didn't have a chance to do it. Also, too, it leads to how he and I became friends, and while we started working on hiking trails together, we're both very passionate about creating long distance trails in this state. This is kind of a foreign concept here in Louisiana, and of course, for those of you who have hiked in other parts of the country, or you've known people that have, you very well know that there's a lot of trails in other states that are of a long distance where you're going to have nature trails combined with road walks. So this is, if not the only video at this time, it's probably one of very few that actually features a road walk for a day hike as part of a long distance trail. So with that being said, just to kind of give you a little bit of a background of what the hiker looks for on a road walk, it is nice to get out of the woods sometimes, because then you have more of a straight path. So like today, for instance, we're shooting to finish a 20-mile hike, which is hard to do in the woods, especially here in Kisatchie with all the ups and downs and the switchbacks and whatnot. So you can get a lot of miles in, which is good. It also gives you a little bit of a break. You get a little bit more scenery sometimes in the wide open space, but you also can start looking for different things. So depending upon what type of road walk it is, you might be able to find a couple places to stop to regather on supplies, find a public restroom, and so forth. The thing about this particular road walk, though, there's not a whole lot of that. There is going to be a particular store about 12 miles into today's hike that I'm going to point out to you where you can do those things. But it's just a different experience. So I'm going to show some different things like I normally do, but also, too, it's going to probably be more of a type of video where I may not show anything for every 3 or 5 miles. So it's not going to be as back to back to back as you normally see in my videos. But I'll be pointing out different things, but we're now going down Forest Road 336, and I'll point some things out to you along the way. As you can see, we're actually exiting the Kisatchie district of the Heber Kisatchie Trail. So we're a little over 3 miles into today's hike, and as you've seen so far, it's been awesome. It was funny when we got to the Caroline Dormon parking lot this morning. There's a guy sitting there waiting for a couple of people to come out. He was from Lafayette like me, and I told him what I was doing, and sure enough, the guy had followed Eric. So he was definitely a popular guy. A lot of people like to watch his videos. So anyhow, we have about 5 miles left on Forest Road 329. I said the wrong thing earlier, but I'm going to show you a couple of junctions here in the next few miles. We're probably going to take a short break too at some point, probably the 5-6 mile mark. But so far, so good. We're about 5 miles in today. This is a side road. You don't go this way. But we came from this direction, and we're now headed in that direction. So we got about 3 miles left to walking along Forest Road 329 before we turn left onto Kisatchie Road. Just over 7 miles into today's hike. We're at Parish Road 906. Actually, this is more a red dirt road that we've been on. And I gotta tell you, there was a lot of red dirt in between miles 5 and 6. It's not too bad right here. But I would highly suggest don't come out here right after a rain. It was very mushy, but we got through it. So hopefully now, looking at this road right up ahead, it looks like it's going to be a better surface. So we're about at this point 1.5 miles away from turning left and getting on to Kisatchie Road. Well, we're getting close to Kisatchie Road, which is also Clifton Road in Natchitoches Parish. I meant to show a minute ago, about 1/10 of a mile back, basically there's a split. Just stay to your left. It's the paved road that we're on now. The other one's gravel. So just stay on your paved road to your left. And again, probably maybe 2/10 of a mile, we'll be turning left. Exactly 8 3/4 into today's hike, we come to the intersection of it was actually the Gorham Road, and now we're at Kisatchie Mora. Kisatchie Mora is going to turn into Clifton Road later on today, but I want to make this point because this is very important, not only if you're following the Eric Heber Kisatchie Trail video list, but also in the future the Bayou State Trail video list. Straight ahead coming in this direction is the Bayou State Trail. We just came from this direction on the Eric Heber Kisatchie Trail, and now in this direction from here all the way to Camp Claiborne, we will have the Eric Heber Kisatchie Trail and the Bayou State Trail as the same route. So depending upon what videos you're watching, you may hear me refer to it as both. So we're now going to go ahead and travel about another 4 miles before we stop over at the corner store. 11 miles into today's hike, we are now exiting the gravel section of this road walk today. It's going to be asphalt the rest of the way. We're in this little bitty village called Mora. I'm going to go ahead and walk here, and you can see there's the Baptist church sign, church down that way, and we're going to continue that way. I'm just pointing these things out because as this becomes a popular section of the trail, there's going to be places where people are going to be looking to stop. And there's several of these churches out here. We're in the Bible Belt. So I'm going to point more of these because there's going to be some more as we go further along. But we're about 2 to 2.5 miles probably from getting to that country corner store I'm going to point out to you. And then from there, we're going to take a short break. Just shy of 13 miles into today's hike. This is the country corner, and this is going to be the only stop along the way here on the roadwalk section. And I'll tell you, this is a good store to come to. They have a lot of stuff. You can see the Hunt Brothers sign, but there is a little bit of hot food, but there's a lot of stuff that you can gather to resupply if you're going to be through hiking or section hiking the trail. And so I highly recommend you go in there. The people are very friendly. But nevertheless, again, we're about 12.7 in today to the Eric Heber Kisatchie Trail, and we're going to be continuing on in this direction for probably about another, I guess, about 6.5 miles. We're up to Highway 8. You can see it's Mora Road, and we're about to cross over Highway 8, and it's going to become Clifton Road. about 3.5 miles left into today's hike. We're about to get into the village of Clifton. I've brought this place up a couple of times in the videos when I talked about this trail. It's a pretty interesting place. It is actually a Choctaw Indian community, and I've met a couple of people so far. They're super nice, but we're gonna be cutting through there over the next couple of miles, and then I'll show a few things there, and then we're actually going to get on the other side of Clifton where we parked our car for the day. But I wanted to point this place out because based upon the miles, we're getting to about the midway mark of the roadwalk section of the Heber Kisatchie Trail. And so whether you're hiking the Heber Kisatchie Trail or in the future the Bayou State Trail, this would be a good place if you want to try to keep your miles even to get from Caroline Dormon, where we started this morning, over to Valentine Lake. So over the next couple of miles, I'll show a couple more things. Then I'll let you know when we're done for the day. Just past Clifton a few minutes ago. We actually going a little further than I thought we would today, but I had to make arrangements to be able to park my vehicle, and there was someone that was nice enough to allow us to park, but it added about 3 miles to it. So we're actually going to be close to 22 miles for today, which feels really good to get that many miles in. And I mean, my friend and I could probably walk another 10 today if we had to, but we're gonna be shutting it down in a little bit. I just wanted to go ahead at this point now and give you my thoughts on the first half of the second section, which is the roadwalk section of the Heber Kisatchie Trail. It was very enjoyable. You know, you think about when you go hiking in Kisatchie, you have all these nice trails, and then you try and do this long distance trail and you're thinking, well, this roadwalk, well, it was actually pretty cool. I think that the first few miles heading out was probably the most scenic. And then unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier today, there was a lot of water in a couple of sections, especially when the elevation started to drop. It got very muddy and we had to find different strips on the road to be able to walk where it didn't feel like quicksand. It was that wet, and I mentioned it earlier today. It was probably in that 5 to 6.5 mile stretch heading southbound. So it put us not far before we got to that parish road where we turned right and it became an asphalt road. And there was another stretch that had a little bit of mud when we turned left on Kisatchie Moor, but it was a wide road. It was much better kept. So outside of that part, in regards to the scenery, it's consistent. You know, you're walking through piney woods in Kisatchie National Forest, and it was very pleasant overall in regards to the people that passed you. There was even a couple of people that stopped and asked if we needed a ride, and so very good downhole folks up here. I was able to get a ride in today to park, but I did want to mention that there's a guy who just started shuttling people around Kisatchie. His name is Jimmy, really cool dude. He helped me make arrangements to find a place to park my vehicle. But if you're through hiking or section hiking this trail, you're going to be able to call him up. I'm going to list his business and his number here, but give him a holler and he'll definitely make some arrangements to transport you around, whether it be you need to be dropped off somewhere or if he needs to bring some supplies out to you. So it's nice to know that we have someone now doing that actively here in Kisatchie. And I mentioned earlier too about the Country Corner. That's the only store. So definitely, if you're through hiking or section hiking this trail, resupply over there. You won't be disappointed. There's plenty in there to be able to resupply. But outside of that, it was just great to be able to show this today, knowing that, again, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, this was a section of the trail that Eric never had an opportunity to hike. And I'll probably come back sometime early in 2024 to complete the roadwalk section, which would be the second half of section 2 that Eric never was able to hike either. I'm gonna jump to the Wild Azalea Trail hopefully in the next couple of weeks and try to through hike that for a couple of days. And so I'll skip. So if you're watching all this stuff chronologically, I'm jumping from here to Wild Azalea. But as I talked about in the last video, I'm gonna make sure as I record these videos, I'll put it in the order of how you would hike it. But other than that, again, awesome day. Definitely would suggest you do this if you want to get in that 20-mile range. Over to Clifton, it was at 18 to be exact. So that will conclude my video for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon on the Eric Heber Kisatchie Trail.